They are absolutely devastated. These two young women and their families' lives have been changed forever. Their mission now is to make sure the man accused of causing this deadly crash doesn't hurt anyone else.
They were the best of friends who were always together, riding dirt bikes, going camping. Then all of a sudden, everything changed.
These young ladies were so full of life and had so much ahead of them.
Friends and family members of Zoe Johnson and Ramey Barnes gathered in front of Mesa Justice Court Wednesday to talk about their sadness and search for justice after what happened this past weekend. Authorities tell us Ramey was driving home along the US 60 freeway when she ran out of gas and pulled over along the shoulder. Zoe was called to help, and when both girls were working on the disabled vehicle, investigators say another car swerved into them, killing Zoe and badly injuring Ramey.
All they were doing was tending to their disabled vehicle when this person pulling heavy equipment behind them that shouldn't have been changed their lives forever, changed all of our lives forever. He should have been in jail. He never should have had the opportunity to do what he did.
This is the man now in custody, 45-year-old Nicholas Meyer, who authorities say was driving with a suspended license. Arizona's family did some digging and found Meyer has a long history of driving with a suspended license, to go along with dozens of other driving-related offenses dating back to 2014. Everything from speeding to unsafe lane changes and no insurance.
An accident with serious physical injury or death.
Meyer had his first appearance in court Wednesday, where he is facing 2 Class 1 misdemeanors for causing a death while driving with a suspended license and causing serious injury. We asked criminal defense attorney Bob McWhirter why Meyer is only facing misdemeanor charges.
Usually it goes immediately to the cities, in this case the city of Mesa. It usually takes a day or so for the county attorney to review the case, review the facts, review the defendant's criminal history, but I would be shocked if it doesn't end up as a felony by the end of the week in Superior Court, not in City Court.
The victims' families are also demanding answers, wanting to know how someone like this could get back behind the wheel.
It could absolutely have been avoided. He has a lengthy criminal history that includes majority traffic violations, and we are praying that we will get justice for these girls, for Ramey and for Zoe.
I asked another criminal defense attorney if there is any way to prevent someone with repeat offenses and a suspended license from getting behind the wheel. He said not really. They may get locked up for 3 to 6 months here or there for various traffic citations, but unless they commit more serious crimes with more jail time, there's no way to prevent them from driving, even with a suspended license. Back to you guys.
Jason Berry, thanks.